Okay. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. I know that we had to reschedule some of these trainings due to the systems being down, so we appreciate your flexibility. I know that this is a requirement for you to receive your slot allocation, so we apologize for any inconvenience that had made. Just so you know, we are recording attendance for these sessions. I will be reporting the attendance back to PHL Pre-K after the end of this meeting, and they should have those emails being sent out to attendees of today's sessions by tomorrow. So by attending today, you would, if you have met all of your other requirements, you'll be receiving information from PHL Pre-K tomorrow. And we are just going to cover an enrollment refresher. All of you are returning providers, very familiar with your own ChildWare 1.0 systems and the PHL Pre-K protocols. We just wanted to cover everything one more time as a requirement. It's been a while since we have all met together. And I had some questions about this bulk service discharge or bulk service update in ChildWare 1.0. And I'm going to pull that up and show you where you can find that. And if you do not see that in the location, I'm going to check your permissions to make sure that you have access to that bulk service update. So in our training today, we're going to cover enrolling returning children to your site location, new children, the PHL Pre-K enrollment procedure, and how to pull an attendance report for invoicing purposes. And then we're also, after that, going to take a look at that bulk discharge so you can meet the requirement for discharging your children at the end of this school year. So some introductions on the ChildWare team. Our program manager is Heather Greenfield, and I am the ChildWare data and reports analyst, previously the training and support coordinator. So I have been producing some of these tip sheets and materials and training sessions this last year and may continue to do so in the future. So I look forward to meeting with you all. I also answer help desk tickets. I know that we have a few outstanding issues happening still after the system has been put back online. We are working as hard as we can to address all of those as quickly as possible, but are prioritizing tickets that affect invoicing and payments, and then moving forward with other issues that we see coming up. So we really, really appreciate your patience. If you have something that is an emergency, please continue to reach out and grab our attention, and we'll try to assess what is going on with your site. On our PHL Pre-K team, we have Jennifer Harris on the line. She's going to provide some information about the PHL Pre-K protocol. I think I present. We also have Cassandra Kurisis. She, I don't believe, is on the line today, but those are both our data enrollment coordinators. They are, Jennifer especially will usually see or oversee any enrollment that you are submitting throughout the year, and as well as her team of enrollment specialists. One of them is on the line today, Elaine. So you may be familiar with communicating with them through the PHL Pre-K inbox. All right, so for returning children, you will log into your site location, enter the child and family drop-down menu, and search for the specific child in your child data. There's a few ways that you can identify a child that's previously been entered into your system. You can use the drop-down menu and search by all children. There is also, if you scroll down in that drop-down menu, there's an option to search by first or last name as well. That will help you easily identify a specific child if you have a lot of children in your system. There's also that advanced search button where you can put identifying information about the child, and then it will populate a list of children that match those criteria. So once you've identified the child that you would like to re-enroll, you'll select into the child's profile. by selecting select. Then you will see their enrollment and referral history here at the bottom. They may have multiple lines listed here. They should have an end date or have been discharged prior to enrolling them in the PHL pre-K subsidy. So if they received summer program services prior to them starting in September, you'll want to close out that service profile by discharging them and then starting a new enrollment service profile for the child so that you can add the ChildWare subsidy to the child's record. So every time they start into the PHL pre-K program, you want a fresh service profile for the child. Once you start adding that referral, it will, for a returning child, is not asking you that same level of information as a new child. It will just start asking you information about the referral date and the enrollment status. So all that you need to put into these fields are is that referral date, which would be the date that the parent signed their PHL pre-K application, and set the status to pending. The status is always set to pending until the PHL pre-K staff have sent a notice of approval of the child's enrollment, and the PHL pre-K staff members will input the enrollment date and set the status to enrolled. So if you are enrolling a child of an existing family member, so maybe this is a younger sibling of a family that you've already had at your center, their caregivers are already in your system, so you want to save a few extra steps by just adding that child to the existing family. You will find this field by selecting into child data in your child and family drop-down menu and select to add child. Once this field populates, you want to select existing family. That will open up new question fields here and change the format of this application and referral. And you would then go to this primary contacts drop-down menu. This will then show you all of your previously entered caregivers, where you can scroll and find that mutual caregiver of the child that you are trying to add to an existing family. So once you find that primary contact, you will just complete the referral or the application information of the child, their first and last name and date of birth, and move forward with inputting the referral date and set their status to pending. So for a new child, it's, you find this in the same location as we were just in the existing child, but you see in this radio selection, you will input that this is a new family. When you input this as a new family, you'll be asked to fill out all of the caregiver information as well. Please remember to include the contact information for the caregiver. This is important for PHL pre-K. Pre-K's records, when this record then moves over to their system of records. So if you're familiar with how PHL pre-K's ChildWare system works, is that they have their own portal that majority of others PHL pre-K providers use. This data imports into that portal where they can log in and see this information. So they do require that you input all of that contact information for the caregiver. It's important to check that PHL pre-K box and set the enrollment status to pending. Again, PHL pre-K will change the status of the child once the child is approved for enrollment, and they will input that start date of the child into the system. So after you have completed the enrollment intake, we also want to make sure that you are adding the PHL pre-K subsidy to the child's record. So in order to do this, you will be navigated, like once you finish the referral and the intake, enrollment intake, you will be back on the child's main profile and see that current record that you had just created. Once you identify that new record you have just created, you'll select into that enrollment record. You'll see the information that you had entered, that referral date and the status pending, and then the service profile at the bottom. So you will then want to select into that service profile for the child for this enrollment record. You will find information about their financial records and services. Here you'll see the option to add subsidy. You will select to add a subsidy, and this drop-down menu box will appear. You may have had previous subsidies approved in your ChildWare 1.0 account, such as Head Start or CCW, but you will want to select that PHL pre-K subsidy and move forward with saving that onto the child's record. If you regularly use your site, the billing feature in ChildWare 1.0, and you have had issues with adding the PHL pre-K subsidy and it changing your financial records, please contact us at the help desk at phmc.org, and we can meet with you one-on-one and look at your site information to make sure that is set up appropriately for that PHL pre-K subsidy to be put onto the child's record. So I have seen examples in the past of billing being affected. If the child has before or after care, you can absolutely bill for those items. This PHL pre-K subsidy just reduces the amount during the time period of your PHL pre-K service hours. So we do need to, if you've had billing errors with having that PHL pre-K subsidy on the child record, please reach out to us and we can make sure to set your site up for success in being able to bill for before and after care, as well as having the PHL pre-K subsidy. So a quick check of your work. When you are on the referral enrollment of that current record, you'll see that referral date that you had input, the date that the parent signed on the application. You'll see the status set to pending, and then that service profile record will indicate under the subsidy that they have PHL pre-K. If you do have children that are before and after care, this column could also say private pay, comma, PHL pre-K, and that's what you want to see if you are billing outside of the PHL pre-K service period. All right, so the enrollment procedure for PHL pre-K, I think I can introduce this so you don't need to have PHL pre-K. So you will make sure that all of the documents are completed and signed by the parent and saved in PDF format. You will have entered the child's enrollment into ChildWare 1.0, making sure to mark their status as pending and as receiving the PHL pre-K subsidy, as we had just discussed. Once those steps are complete, you will email phlprek@phmc.org with the PHL pre-K application and all documents such as the proof of age and proof of residency. In the email, besides attaching those documents, you want to include as much information as possible, including the child's name, their ChildWare ID in your system in ChildWare 1.0, what their anticipated start date is, which must be 2 business days in the future, and what classroom they should be assigned to. Sometimes I know I actually was previously an enrollment specialist and would receive emails that just included the documents and no other information at all. We do want to make sure that we just get a little bit of context when you're submitting an application for enrollment through the email. And remember that all documents submitted must be in PDF format and under 10 megabytes in size. Any other format or larger files are not able to be viewed in our data portal. So save time by making sure that those documents are in proper format for compliance monitoring purposes.
So sorry, Claire.
Yes.
So I just want to share with that enrollment that the PHL pre-K enrollment date that we put in ChildWare 2.0 should match the enrollment date for ChildWare 1.0. So if the child was attending through another source, we do want to make sure we create a new line so that the enrollment date for 1.0 and 2.0 does match. Jennifer, enrollment and referral coordinator here with PHL Pre-K. Another part is just to make sure that the application is completed in its entirety before emailing it over, as that can stop the enrollment process for us to enroll their child. And again, that you do have that proof of age and proof of residency attached to the email. If you are sending an email with more than one student, you can do that. Again, just make sure that they are in order of the first come, first served basis, and you're notating whether or not it is a child to enroll or to be placed on your wait list. If you have any questions, again, feel free to always email me at phlprek@phfc.org and I will support. But again, just make sure that you are submitting an application that is completed in its entirety, or we will reply to the email stating what is needed and that can delay enrollment for that child. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so are there any questions about the enrollment process before I go on to attendance and your bulk discharge?
No questions at this time, but so sorry again. If you are attending, make sure you put your name in the chat box so I can make sure you get credit so that you can be on your way to enrollment for the FY24 school year. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so attendance for invoicing. To pull the report that is required of you to be submitted during the invoicing period, you will find that in your reports and documents drop-down menu under reports. Once you enter reports, you will see that there are many different sections of reporting. You're going to go into attendance and meal reports. Under attendance and meal reports, you'll find monthly attendance details. So that is the specific report that they are looking for. It will show the average daily attendance and the specific dates of attendance of the children, and is the same format as all of our other reporting. You will then use the filters on the right-hand side to select the month that you are pulling this report for. And then you'll see at the bottom, there's the option for funding source. If all of your children have the PHL Pre-K subsidy listed on their enrollment service profile, like I had just showed you how to do, you can simply select PHL Pre-K in this funding source, and that will pull all of your kids into that attendance record, regardless of which classroom that they are in. So it will only identify those children that are receiving PHL Pre-K subsidy, which is the document that your enrollment special or provider service specialist is looking for. So once you complete those filters, you'll just select to preview the report and download, sign, and email that back to your provider specialist. As always, to report a problem or of technical or support, you would email us at helpdesk@phmc.org. We ask that you include ChildWare in the subject or the body of the message so that it is sent to our program as quickly as possible so that we can respond in a timely manner. I know that right now is we have been having a backlog of reports, especially after our system has been down, and we are in the middle of enrollment season. So we are working as hard as we can to respond to all of the inquiries that we have. And again, we're prioritizing tickets that affect invoicing and payments for this month, and then we'll move forward next week with addressing the rest of the inquiries that we have. So before we end, I'm going to show you guys in ChildWare 1.0 in the demo. I know that I had gotten a couple of emails from you guys about this bulk service update and discharging in bulk. So this was an announcement sent out to the majority of the PHL pre-K or all PHL pre-K providers. This was a new feature for the providers that use the other system, ChildWare 2.0, and was actually built out to model the original feature that was in ChildWare 1.0, which is our original system. So you do have access to it. If you do not see it in your drop down in your options, then I would need to just check your permissions to see if it's just not being able to view. You're not able to view it with your access, but you all should have it. So I'm going to log into my ChildWare account. And I do realize that our webpage has been pretty slow recently. This was due again to those that security threat and our systems being down. We're working to add servers to our network as quickly as possible to increase speeds. So when you are on your site's page, you'll go into the child and family drop-down menu, and you'll see this option for bulk service update. So please let me know in the chat if you do not see that on your end. But under bulk service update, you'll see the option to discharge active children. You can input a future discharge date and input the reason. This reason would be universal for all of the children that you are inputting in that in this bulk process. So for example, if I was to input, I'm sorry, it should be a June date, that my last date of service is 6/16 and that all my children are completing program, I would select multiple children, and then you can check which children you want to include in this bulk discharge. So you can select them on the left-hand side. Can you all see what I'm sharing as well with the child? Okay, great. Just want to make sure. And then you will process update after you have selected the children. So you're selecting children down here at the bottom, and then scroll back up once you have selected all of your children and process that update. And like we mentioned before, you should be doing this at the end of your service profile for PHL Pre-K because they are ending their PHL Pre-K service. If you are having the child continue at your site location using different funding sources or are anticipating that they will be in summer programs, you still want to discharge them from this enrollment service profile and reapply them with a new enrollment record indicating the type of service they're receiving, whether it's a summer program, private pay, CCW. And then if they are coming back into PHL Pre-K in September, you will then start a new enrollment service profile for them that will match the enrollment date of their start date of the new school year. Are there any questions about that? Okay. Christy doesn't see it in her drop down menu.
I have a question.
Yes.
So we have a couple of children who does have CCW, right? So I discharge them completely, then re-enroll them on the CCW. And then when they come back in September, I discharge them again and re-enroll them on the Philly Pre-K and CCW? Yes. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So anytime like their funding source changes, it's considered a new enrollment record. So you want to end date it, like you said, start a new record for that summer period, end date the summer period, and then start the new record for the next school year.
Okay. Also, I don't see the bulk service tab under mine.
On child and family, bulk service updates is what it's called.
Yeah, I don't have that.
Okay. I'll take a look at your permissions. Is anybody else able to not able to view that?
No, had to email someone to have them update my user profile.
Okay, I will check the permissions. It may be universal, that, this may have, you know, it may be something to do with the system being down, but I will take a look at that if you guys are all reporting that you can't see it. Probably universal across the system, so I'll take a look at those permissions this afternoon so you guys can process those updates. Also, actually, a support that we're offering, if you hadn't seen that already, is for us to process the discharges for you. This is for ChildWare 2.0 for PHL Pre-K. They already have input your discharge dates into their system. This is for your own records that you must discharge them, like we had discussed for the enrollment service profiles. I can offer to do that for you, but typically we also like to keep this ChildWare 1.0 as your own system of records where you can complete the data as necessary for your business practice. So if you email me and provide consent, I can process the updates for you as well. So if you want to send in a help desk ticket and confirm that I would have consent to process those updates with the discharge dates that you've already provided, I can do that for you as well. But I will look into the permissions because there are other service updates that you can make that are necessary throughout using the system. So I am going to look into getting those permissions activated for you, but can also provide that support as well. So if you'd like for me to do that, you can email at the help desk. Okay. So like I said, this was a short session today. Most of you, all of you are professionals in using our ChildWare system and have been using it for many years. So we really thank you for all of your dedicated service to your children and families and your communities, and for being a part of the PHL Pre-K program. And again, we will try to respond to all of our help desk tickets as quickly as possible. But please be patient with us throughout this enrollment season as we turn over the school year and post our system being down for several weeks. So if you have any questions, I will stay on the line, but if not, you are free to go and I will record your attendance. If you haven't already checked in, just drop your name and center location in the chat, and enjoy the rest of this beautiful afternoon. Thank you so much, everyone.
I will just share, I shared in a training earlier today. One of the questions was, okay, so now when will I obtain my enrollment documents? So as Claire shared, she will provide me with information of who all did attend. I'll be going through a list to ensure that everybody has met all the other requirements. And then we will send out that email on tomorrow, which will list the application. Your slots will be allocated in chat. The hope is that your slots will be allocated in ChildWare, provided that the team can do it. And once it has been done, that's when an email will go out to give you the application and documents that you need to move forward with enrolling. Again, you will then email us at phlprek@phfc.org with the application and proof of age and proof of residency so that we can enroll them in the 2.0 system for you.